My dear brothers, sisters, teens, and my very dear children, in this Jubilee year of hope, we have been reflecting on a new series of themes. On New Year Day, we began this series with the theme, Renew. Today, we celebrate the Epiphany of the Lord, and our theme is refocus. Refocus. May I request you now to gently put your arms round your neighbor's shoulders and tell them, refocus. Go ahead. And if they are sleeping, please shake them well and tell them, refocus. Thank you so much. Now the first question to all of you. Who will be the first millennial to be canonized by the church? Any answers? Any answers? Excellent. Your general knowledge is awesome. It is Carlo Acutis. He will be canonized in this Jubilee year of hope. Why? Carlo Acutis was born in 1991. Shortly after his first Holy Communion, at the age of 7, he told his mother to be always united to Jesus. This is my life plan. He had a vision. To accomplish this, Carlo attended daily mass at his parish church across the street. He said, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." He brought his classmates, friends, and family members closer to Jesus. He was not shy to speak with anyone he met about the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. He inspired his own parents, who were lapsed Catholics, to return to the Catholic faith. Carlo Acutis said, "People who place themselves before the sun get a suntan. People who place themselves before the Eucharist become saints." Thousands of people visit his tomb in Assisi and pray for their intentions. Great miracles happen. In the year 2022, a girl called Valeria was near death after seriously injuring her head in a bicycle accident while she was studying in Florence. She was immediately admitted to the hospital. The family was told that her situation was very, very critical and that she could die at any moment. She was put on a ventilator. 6 days later, Valeria's mother went on a pilgrimage to Assisi to pray for the healing of her daughter at the tomb of Carlo Acutis. On that same day, Valeria began to breathe on her own. All the pipes were removed. On the next day, she recovered the use of her upper limbs and partly recovered her speech. 10 days later, Valeria was discharged from the ICU. She underwent further tests which confirmed the miracle. Her brain injury had completely disappeared. I pause here. Second question. What is the moral of the story? What is the moral of the story? If you give me the right answer, as our cantor sang beautifully, I will fall prostrate before you. What is the moral of the story? Any answers? What is the moral of the story? Yes, louder. Louder. You are almost there. Almost there. The moral of the story is miracles still happen. Yes, miracles still happen. Experts can go wrong. So don't believe the experts. Don't believe everything they say. Contrary to medical predictions, Valeria spent only 1 week in the hospital. 2 months later, she herself went on a pilgrimage to the tomb of Carlo Acutis in Assisi. Unbelievable, but true. Pope Francis has recognized this miracle, paving the way for the canonization of Carlo Acutis. Now the third question to all of you. What is the life lesson from the life of Blessed Carlo Acutis? What is the life lesson? Any answers?
Attend the Eucharist.
Louder? A bit louder.
To attend Holy Eucharist.
The life lesson is we must be focused in our spiritual journey. Carlo was so convinced about the power of the Eucharist. He did everything possible to make this power known to others. Remember his words. People who place themselves before the Eucharist become saints. Today we celebrate the solemnity of the three wise men. And the fourth question to all of you, are you focused on Christ? May I request you, brothers and sisters, to gently tap your neighbor's shoulders and ask them this question, are you focused on Christ? And if they are dozing, permission granted, please shake them and ask them, are you focused on Christ? Brothers and sisters, like the Magi, all of us are on a journey to Christ. The Magi reached their destination because they were focused on Christ. There were three reactions to the birth of Jesus. Number one, hatred. King Herod considered Jesus as a potential threat to his throne. Herod was a cruel king who had murdered his mother-in-law, his wife, and his 3 children on suspicion that they had plotted against him. Today, many oppose Christ and the church because of their evil ways and their unjust lives. Unborn children still have Herods to fear. 73 million innocents, unborn children, die every year because of abortion. Number 2, indifference. The scribes, the Pharisees, and the Jewish priests knew very well that there were nearly 500 prophecies in the Hebrew scriptures concerning the promised Messiah. They were able to tell Herod the exact date and place of Jesus' birth. But they refused to go and see the child Jesus, even though Bethlehem was quite close to Jerusalem. Why? Indifference. Today, many are indifferent. They come and go without getting involved in the community. Number 3, adoration. The third group, the shepherds and the magi, adored Jesus and offered themselves to him. The shepherds offered the only gifts they had: love, tears of joy, and probably woolen clothes and milk from their sheep. The magi were from Persia and offered their traditional gifts. Brothers and sisters, let us make sure that we belong to the third group. In this Jubilee year, Pope Francis urges us to be signs of hope in a world which has lost hope. Finally, the fifth question to all of you: how can we be signs of hope in this year of hope? The Magi has the answer. Let us reflect on 3 lessons from the Magi. Lesson number 1: be attentive to God's promptings. The wise men saw a star rising and recognized it as a sign of the infant king. Let us always be attentive to God's promptings and respond as the wise men did. The Lord calls all of us to serve him. Have you been ignoring his call? Lesson number 2: offer our gifts to the Lord. The wise men offered their valuable gifts. Let us remember that all our gifts came from the Lord. Let us offer our gifts and talents to him. Lesson number 3: allow our hearts to be transformed by our encounter with Jesus. After encountering Jesus, the wise men returned to their own country by another way. Just as the Magi chose another route to return to their homes, let us choose a better way of life. Brothers and sisters, even if you have lost focus on Jesus, do not be discouraged. There is good news for you. Listen to what Pope Francis says. He says, God speaks to each of us and says, there is hope also for you. No one is a gone case. There is hope also for you. May I request you one final time, put your arms around your neighbor's shoulders and tell them gently, there is hope also for you. Go ahead. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. May this solemnity of the Epiphany lead us to refocus on Christ. Amen.